Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to BRENTLY Live. I got another video here. I found one that is crazy. It's basically them trying this group of people saying that aliens are actually demons, and they're like kind of putting it all together with the end times of the signs and wonders of the end times, and the world will be deceived, and this, and that, and the other, right? So they're putting it all together with aliens. And it's this it's LED. It's like little light studios, but it's like LED. It's like light exposing darkness or something like that. Some cheesy thing. So we'll get right into it. Hopefully this all works well. It is a little bit slowed down as far as I can tell is my internet, but hopefully it'll iron out here. Well, here we go.
You are alleging that the US government has been concealing the existence of alien life.
I would couch it as non-human intelligence, NHI, like we would like to say in our language.
That always makes me think of that that Alex Jones clip. He's like, "It's not human intelligence." That's loud.
The government's
Okay.
on TV right now talking about non-human entities.
I have heard about that, man. What in the world is
That's
going on?
So this is LED. It's called LED Live, right? And so these group of guys, just like a group of folks, I should say, all are hanging out, and they just pretty much talk about nonsense. Just like all the news and stuff. This is the one that will find like demons in Disney and things like that. So it's quite entertaining. They'll do like little videos they're like essay videos, but then they also do their live thing, and that's what this is. This is them just hanging out and discussing stuff live. So here we go.
We got a couple clips to show about this today, but before we get into that, I want to talk to you, Stephanie. You're all the way here from where?
California, Southern California.
What evil?
Thank you for joining us at our humble studio.
Cannot be
She
from
runs
there.
our own YouTube channel called Stephanie Griffin Ministries.
Stephanie
Yeah.
Griffin.
What do you talk about in your YouTube channel?
We talk about
I feel like
everything.
that sounds familiar.
We talk about spiritualism, the occult, witches,
Paranormal.
but mostly Jesus, right? It's
Yeah.
all through Jesus.
I love how they're not even allowed to say like the other stuff they talk about. They're like, yeah, we talk about the occult and Satan and demons and stuff, but Jesus, mostly Jesus, because Jesus is Jesus. That's what we have to talk about.
You had your own
Truth.
experience in what?
I did. I was involved in spiritual formation for almost 9 years, and
What?
all that
Spiritual formation? I've never heard of that one. Okay.
it
All right.
is, and as well as the emerging church. And since God brought me out, He is teaching me how to teach others to not fall for this deception and to prevent others from
The irony of that sentence is so funny. Like, I became a Christian, out of, I guess, witchcraft or something, some kind of and she's like, I became a Christian in order to, not fall for lies, because the talking animals and, a single God sacrificing himself to himself, to act as a loophole for rules that he made up is just totally normal. But it's the witchcraft. That's the deception right there.
from doing so if
Jesus.
they don't want to be involved.
Very good.
Oh
And
my
we
gosh.
want you.
It's funny because I noticed that a lot of these, I know I'm stopping it a lot, but I noticed a lot of these like fundamentalist ladies that come on here, they all talk like that. Damn, I can't think of what it was. It was some cult, and like all the women went on TV, and they said that they would like coach them for their voice because they wanted to give the cult like a positive look or whatever. And so these women would like use these really soft voices, and and it was like they said it was like to garner sympathy for the cult members, but it's just funny because like that is so built into the fundamentalists like lifestyle is women have to speak softly and quietly. They're not allowed to be loud. If women are loud ever, then they're being sinful.
You in here talking about this today because this ties closely into that, believe it or not,
It
and we're
does.
going to explain how that ties in because the government's involved in this now, and I think it's important that we, as
Dude,
regular people,
I'm gonna like make it the thumbnail. I got the picture of it from the thumbnail, but it's insane. It shows like their thumbnail shows Biden sitting down with an alien signing a piece of paper together. Like it's clearly made by AI, But it was just funny. So I like clipped it out. I'm gonna use it for the thumbnail here.
on this show understand what's going on, and tell our audience too what's happening. So
Yeah, I mean, years ago when we started looking into this, people thought you're tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists. But when the military's
Oh no, we're still thinking that. We're still thinking that about you guys. That's
on
all
the
I know.
news saying, "Yep, UFOs are real. They're not of this world, and we have alien crafts," it's time for the church to start speaking up. I mean, we
That's
need
what
to
I was
address
thinking.
this.
That's right.
You know, as soon as the government acknowledges alien activity, you know, the first thing I think of is, fuck, what's the church got to say about it?
Right. We need to respond.
Because the media is
So what?
a controlled programming that they're telling this is the narrative, this is the main narrative, this is what they want the mainstream to know. So if they're telling us this is true, then we need to tell the real truth.
That's right.
and what's amazing
Then we
about
need to not believe it and make up our own thing in the background. That's what we got to do. That's
this, and I'm getting ahead of myself in the program. What's amazing about this is
Well,
they're actually telling us right now that, oh yeah, it was
and don't get me wrong, like there are reports or whatever of like just unidentified things, you know. It's so hard to parse out what's bullshit and what's not, because it's been so like taken over by the UFO nut jobs that it's so difficult. You can't, you know, you can find something legit and not be able to tell that it's legit because it's been so like, you know, screwed with by everybody. You know, it's one of those like really touchy things, you know, where it's like you really got to make sure your source is solid when you're looking for UFO type stuff.
actually all a cover up. Ha 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 ha. We're letting you know right now this whole thing was a cover up, but we need you now. We need people to help us with this. And so we're going to get into that in just a second. So this is fascinating. Check this out.
It says non-human entities among us. That's like they have a shitload of money for this, whatever this, you know, operation. I like this guy's hat. He's got a great hat right there. So that is, it's a nice, you know, he pulls it off well. He pulls it off well, you know, and I know I'm not, you know, trust me. But yeah, it's so fun. Okay. Let them, oh, fuck.
The materials that these craft are made of are clearly not of this earth.
Yeah,
Who
they're
is that?
sophisticated,
Because I wonder,
engineered, certainly not
Sorry.
by humans.
And while Grush says the US has gleaned some insight from these materials for military use, so much more could be done if academia and the private sector had access.
It's totally nuts that humanity as a whole, especially
so they're trying to say that academia doesn't have access, and that's what it is. Like, so there's like a wall of separation among scholars and government, like wall, you know, government red tape, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how this works.
you know, the U.S. citizenry as a whole, they're not even benefiting from broad research on this to solve, you know, propulsion, energy issues, novel material science that can improve people's quality of life. It's just totally nuts how it's been protected and inhibits progress.
This is actually a 45-minute discussion we had with this guy. This is the news broadcaster. He's talking to a guy that was formerly a part of the government. He was in the Pentagon.
I have no idea what News Nation is. If anybody can let me know in the comments, that'd be great, because I'm not aware of what, you know, how legitimate that source is. But
And his name is David Grush. And this guy
David
was
Grush.
at the top, high as you can go as far as security clearances can be. And he was read into this high-level thing for several years. And he sat on it for, he said, 4 years. And he said, you know what? This isn't right. We shouldn't keep this stuff from the people. And so he left, and a couple months later, with the approval, this is what's where it gets really weird. The approval of the Pentagon, he said, I'm going to be revealing this stuff. And the government's like, yeah, sure, go for it.
Yeah, mainstream media is controlled, and for this guy to be on here being labeled a whistleblower and stuff, this
dude is hilarious. I honestly, he's probably one of my favorite of the videos I cover. He's just so funny. Everything he says is just, it's straight out of conspiracy land. You know, it's like he can't. And what it's so difficult. Like I have a guy I know, an acquaintance, I should say, that thinks like that, and it's almost like you just can't even have a conversation with them because their head's so far in the clouds. And it's like they can think like, oh, money is like controls everything, and then they take that little truth, which that obviously is true, right? And they take it to a stupid degree, though, like where it's just like, it's all like being like so tightly controlled, and everything's a lie, and all the, they're causing all these events to take place. It just gets really stupid really fast. But like, it's because they don't have an actual like well-rounded understanding of how all these systems actually work. And so with their little limited understanding of it, they just take everything and just blow it to the max. And, and it ends up just sounding absurd when they talk about literally anything.
It's not just some guy with a YouTube channel. Like, he's on mainstream
Exactly.
media. They want this guy in the public eye. So this is the
Wait,
official story.
okay.
And for him to just be like,
wait a second, then this is what I don't understand about these people. So your whole thing is that the mainstream media is like manipulative and lying about everything and all that, but until it says something that you want it to, that aligns with something you'd like to think, and then now it's like, it's got to, first of all, it's got to be true, and then it's even more true, or it's true to some level that they're also hiding or whatever. It's just so funny how they think. It's like, they don't have a good grasp on like media literacy.
well, there's no way this was human made. Like, how does this guy know this stuff? How does he know this? Like, there's no way it's human. If you would have found this in 1930s, you'd be like, this is alien technology. It's not human. This is the narrative they want us to believe, that there's non-humans out here among us, and we have technology from them.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting from the mainstream media. They just want to think. They want you to think that it's basically that movie. Fuck, what is that? The one with the obey sign movie or whatever, like where all the aliens are among everybody and you can't see them anyway. They live. It's like the movie They Live, basically. That's the narrative that the mainstream media is pushing here. Yeah, buddy.
Fascinating is that they are non-human, but they're not extraterrestrial. I mean, we know what these things are. If there's non-human entities, what could they be? Now, I'm a Christian. This is what I
was going to say. Like, so within my very narrow worldview, they have to be demons, and that's it. That's all they can be. Because
I believe that we're seeing some biblical themes play out here, and they're coming to pass right now. So,
yeah, I believe biblically we know that Satan is
that guy over there seems very nervous.
going to deceive the entire world. That Satan and his demons have been messing around with politics and all these things, getting involved. These people, it's no secret that the elites of the world are not, biblical religious people. They're messing around with stuff, the occult and all that. And this is spiritual warfare. So we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Hold on. So I guess he's saying that like the higher up, whatever, the Illuminati, I guess, is like, so he's basically talking about the Illuminati being controlled by Satan himself. Incarnate. That's it sounds so stupid, but that's literally like what they talk about a lot of times, is like Satan is in charge, and he's got, he's basically a mob boss. Like, Satan's just a big mob boss. He's got all the politicians in his pocket, got all of Hollywood, and he even tells Hollywood to like make sure to put his imagery and symbols out there and everything.
But against principalities and powers and high places.
Yeah.
My question is, somebody can watch this thing, like maybe not very into about, supernatural stuff or aliens or anything. I mean, how are they going to be deceived? I mean, the humanity is going to be deceived, but the thing is, like, maybe people not very into that kind of stuff. I mean, how are they going to be deceived? I mean, is going to be new laws that are coming, or, I mean, it's a force. They're going to say, you know what, this is true. Like, for example, like New Age, maybe those guys, they're praying for I think it's called the spiritual guides or something like that.
Oh, yeah. The ascended masters and all that.
Yeah, something like that. But somebody that is not into that kind of stuff.
So like, I have no idea what this guy's saying. Like, honestly, I think he had a thought initially, and I think it kind of fell apart or something. I don't know. It seems like he's saying like how would they deceive us with all of these beliefs, and other people believe stuff about spirit guides and stuff, and they're going to use all that to deceive, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to follow what he's saying.
My question is, I mean, how are they going to be deceived? Or maybe the government is going to be, hey, you know what? I mean, this is a new law and you need to obey. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is crazy.
Well,
last week,
the Bible tells us that the world's going to be deceived through signs, wonders, miracles, that many will fall from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of the devils. Like this isn't
Doctrines of devils. I remember that one being said quite a
just going
quite
to be
a
like,
bit.
you need to trust us. There's
Yeah.
aliens. We're going to see stuff.
And
We're
this-
about to
That's
see
true.
stuff.
Wow.
Another piece of that layer is
Oh, so he's saying like them just spinning a narrative is not enough. Like they're gonna like show you the alien. Like here's Fred. He's an alien. Come here, Fred. What's up? Wave hi to the cameras. All right. Yeah, he's gonna be like on one of those government boards where the Republicans like question, like the Democrats and Republicans take turns questioning him and stuff.
we are deceived for lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
We're lost from that lack of knowledge. Now, knowledge doesn't save us,
Yeah.
but it is a protectant. So many are lost because they have not received the love of the truth.
Amen. And we'll
And we will fall for anything. When we
What is
don't
that?
pursue
I
truth.
love how they just say stuff and they're like, oh, she just said like Christian-y words. We all got to say amen. Oh yeah, yep, amen, sister. It's like, but what she said is like literally meaningless. Like, anyway.
And believe it.
Absolutely. And it goes even further than this. This is what's amazing to me. So this was just about the UAPs. They call them unidentified anomalous. They changed the word.
Yeah, they
It's
changed
not
that all the
aerial
time.
phenomenon.
No, it's not
anymore?
aerial anymore. Unidentified anomalous phenomenon. And now they call these things that they are seeing not only UAPs.
Like who's calling them that? The government's calling them that? That's a government thing? I don't know. I'm not really. I didn't follow the whole alien thing. I find it like it's always seems to end up being something like I don't know, something small that we just didn't realize was there or something like that. Like I don't know. As far as I can tell, there are like some videos that the military put out where they said that they didn't know what it was, but I thought they said later that it was like a certain kind of new drone or something that some other country was using or something like that. I don't know. It just doesn't seem very compelling to me as far as like what we should, in order to like come to the conclusion that there is definitely something here or whatever. I don't see it.
They're communicating with us.
Well,
And they call them NHI, non-human intelligence. So
Okay, wait. Okay, no, come on.
We're
come on.
communicating.
So they're communicating, and they tell us that they call themselves.
no, not themselves. That the government.
We've
Our
labeled
U.S.
Oh.
government calls them NHI.
We're communicating
Well, I
with
would
non.
I mean, that would be really funny if somebody showed up and like, hey, everybody, you can just call me non-human intelligence. You're human intelligence. Okay. I just wanted to clear that up. That's what I'm going by from now on.
Human intelligence is what? This is 2023,
I would
guys.
have to say that
Okay.
they are more correct in their terminology with NHI because I mean, this guy
Let me
Dave.
guess. Demons have intelligence. Therefore,
Towards the end of the book talks about how these have been around for a while, multiple decades.
Mhm.
Well,
okay.
these angels who fell for heaven, they were cast out of heaven. They've been around for thousands of years,
Yeah.
right? So these are your non-human intelligences.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
They're
How did she go from like a couple of decades to like thousands of years or whatever? Like, okay,
It's crazy how subtle Satan is.
Like,
He just
those two are like numbers that apply to lengths of time. So, all right, that was my point.
changes the terminology a little bit and gets you to think.
Uh-huh.
Like if this was 50 years ago or Leave It to Beaver days, people would be like, this is demons. But now they're like, no, it's just
Yeah.
everything's the same. It's like, yeah, they're non-human and
Like, would they think that, man? There was like a panic from which I understand is not as big a deal as everybody tries to make it like it is. But the War of the Worlds broadcast that like freaked out like a few people or whatever. That people believed that it was they weren't saying that, oh no, that the War of the Worlds thing, there wasn't people saying that there were demons. They were saying, oh no, there's aliens. Like they believed them when they said that there were aliens like invading.
and they're from the heavens, but they're
Here's-
beings from other worlds, and they're
What if it's plural? Like, then it's what, just anywhere that's not on Earth? Is that how that works? Like the heavens is outer space. That's what we're doing here.
really
Okay.
they're just physical beings that are visitors. They're not it's not a spiritual thing. It's not angels and demons and things
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, so the government knows about this thing for many years, right?
Apparently.
Apparently, right? So have you seen movies from
Allegedly.
Hollywood?
That's what.
Constantly the first
Ah.
contact.
Mhm.
And I mean, constantly is their friends. I mean, of course, you know, they make this story about the later on they're evil, they want to conquer the earth, you know, stuff like that. But it seems like if you really watch some of the movies, it's like those people from another world, they want to be friends.
Yeah.
So
This guy.
to me,
I love this guy, man. He's just, you know, he's just excited to be there, and like, he's just like, sometimes in the movies, they, you know, the aliens aren't bad; they want to be your friend. And I think what he's saying, I hope I understand what he's saying, is that like they're gonna sell it like we should all be their friend or something, like it's Mac and Me or some shit.
it's scary. I mean, I don't know, man, because you
Mac and Me was a very old alien movie around the same time that E.T. came out, but was slightly different, slightly, just a little bit,
read the word of God. I mean,
basically the same.
that's
But
that is deceiving, and we're gonna be lost for eternity.
There's a man that went over this stuff in the 80s, and he said when he was growing up, he was pulled into the cult, worshiping fallen angels, and he said the satanic priest told him that these things will come.
these people are still reeling from like the satanic panic from like 30 years ago. Like they're still believing the bullshit that people said to make money and sell books and sell like you know, where they get to go on shows and all that, show appearances. Like they're still believing this stuff they said back then, most of which were debunked. It was just it was a panic. It was a moral panic. It was a moral satanic panic, and it continues. It didn't really end. It just kept going. But a lot, like, I mean, several of those people that were going around saying that they were involved in like satanic cult stuff all said that they were lying and stuff, and there's no evidence to suggest that anything they were saying was actually true. They were just contributing to the panic because it helped them get a stage, you know, and a platform to be able to do what they want. The one guy wanted to do comedy and was terrible at it, Mike Warnke, yeah. And he said that he would do like a comedy set. It was the weirdest thing. He would do a comedy set, and then halfway through the comedy set, be like, anyway, so we started cutting off and eating kids' faces in a cult that I was in. Crazy. I know. It's crazy. All right, now for some more jokes. Like, what the fuck? It was the most jarring thing, but that got him popular because it was so, you know, it gave them their cheesy comedy that they crave, you know, the Christian cheesy comedy. And then it also gave them a bunch of validation for satanic, you know, scares that they have, you know, with their weird little panic for the Satanism.
And present themselves and say that we are from far distant galaxies coming to Earth to present or to tell you about a coming destruction, unless you do something about it. Something proper is done to avoid it.
Where did that all came from that guy? The government guy was like, hey, they said they're gonna come kill us unless we do the thing that they want. So, you know, I don't think he said all of that. I think he just said that they have stuff that they don't want the public knowing about, and that's it. That now we're done. And it's probably stuff that he doesn't even know what it is, you know, and it could easily just be testing stuff or something, you know, some kind of new tech or whatever. That's what I always assume, and I feel like that's happened several times. Like the if you go back to some of the older sightings, I want to say in Las Vegas, and they were triangles. They were like these black triangles in the sky, and you know, years later, the that ship, that bomber, whatever that came out, the B-52 bomber or whatever, it looks really crazy, and it looks like a triangle in the sky. And so it's like, yeah, that's what I'm always assuming these things are. It's just some sort of like top secret government project that they're trying to work on, and somebody sees it, you know.
And the priest told us, could I have a little bit more? Your time I want to do something very fascinating. He says the grain plane, the master's grain plane, for harvesting the nations, for harvesting the multitudes of the earth into his cause, just before the close of the great controversy between the forces of good and evil. So we continued, you know, after we expressed ourselves that we're deeply interested to know more about the activities of spirits. And he said it's going to be done in a unique manner. This grain plane is going to take people are going to eat the stuff. Because he says spirits, demon spirits, will declare themselves to be inhabitants of far distant planets in the galaxies that are coming to warn the inhabitants of planet Earth of the
So this is for fucking ever ago. I have no I have no idea how old this is, but pretty fucking is probably my analysis here. But demon spirits will declare themselves to be inhabitants of far distant planets. It's like, why would they need to do that? Like, it's so weird. Can they just say I'm a magic? Like, why do they need to say where they're from in the first place? I don't know. This is so weird, but like demons just showing up. Like, hey, it's cool. Hey, we're aliens. Okay, we're from other planets. All right. So that's what we are. We are declaring this ourselves. Are you in on this too, Steve? Steve agrees. He's it from there too. So
any destruction of the planet, unless something seriously proper is done.
And I think we're seeing that right now.
What was that? What does that mean? What would that be? Become a Christian. Is that what? So, as long as you become a Christian, then that'll keep all of the alien demons away.
I want to look him up. 3-hour presentation on YouTube. Fascinating.
He called it the Great Super Deception.
The great. Why don't you just add one more adjective in there? The great, super, stupendous deception.
It's worth a view.
So you told me that there's some guy, Satanist, right?
Ex-Satanist.
Ex-Satanist. So the big master.
He says the master,
right? So we have Satanists around here. I mean, we have an organization about that. I was kind of curious about what they think about that.
Satanists?
Satanists about aliens and all this stuff.
That'd be interesting.
I would really.
I don't know. Most of them, as far as I know, like don't believe in all the Satanists I'm like familiar with and friends with. Do not believe in any of that stuff. They're all methodological naturalists. So they don't believe in supernature. I guess they can believe that aliens are a concept that could be like that's not necessarily a supernatural concept, but I don't think most of them would be like, yeah, totes. Like they're the things that we worship. That's why we worship the demon. I mean, alien, demon, whatever. They're the same thing. Like I don't think you get a lot of Satanists saying anything like that.
The gods are coming.
Well, what's really fascinating about it, and I think I want to get into this after we see this NHI clip real quick, is that it's closely tied into spiritualism and closely tied into a lot of Eastern religions, meditation and stuff. And so I'm going to have you talk a little bit about
They
that.
always tie everything in. You notice how they always have to see it. They always have to have some kind of like white evangelical racism going on, just like Eastern mysticism or like Buddhism, and and they make that like it's demonic, just meditate. I remember growing up hearing about how meditation was demonic. Like if you put on the little music or whatever and tried to relax, like demons, you must always be tense. You must always be uncomfortable. Like, don't you dare meditate, it's just funny how it works, but yeah,
it's really fascinating what's happening right now. This clip is from yesterday.
Wow.
So
yesterday.
Check this out. This is about the NHI, with the whistleblower talking about this.
You are alleging that the US government has been concealing the existence on this planet of alien life.
I would couch it as non-human intelligence, NHI, like we would like to say in our language.
Why do you say that? Why do you say NHI?
I don't want to necessarily denote origin. I don't think we have all the data to say, oh, they're coming from certain...
enough. But couldn't like AI technically be non-human intelligence? Like it's literally called artificial intelligence. Is that doesn't count though? That's there's no way it's got anything to do with that. No.
A certain location, and I couch it as somebody who studied physics, where maybe they're coming from a different physical dimension, as described in quantum mechanics. We know there's extra,
like Indiana Jones 4. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. To forget all this alien stuff, we need, we got billions of dimensions that we can deal with too. So
dimensions due to high energy particle collisions, etc. And there's a theoretical framework to explain that. Yeah.
Just let me cut to the quick though. You're saying there is an intelligent species engaging with this planet?
Yes, that's potentially extraterrestrial. Yeah.
I speak for everybody sitting at home. That is a shock.
It was to me. And I had a lot of sleepless nights.
Wow. I mean, this is getting so close to the truth. Now
Like-
they're interdimensional, multiverse.
Well, he didn't say that for certain, man. See, this is where like y'all just start making inferences. No, he said that he doesn't know the origin. He says they're communicating with something, right? But they don't know the origin. But he says it's not a human, but that is intelligent enough to interact with them. So it's not. He's not saying that it definitely is another dimension. He just said that's another possibility. And he's like, so it's another dimension. It seems like they just. The second they hear somebody say something, they've just already decided what they think. Like they've like already drawn conclusions as he's saying the words, and it's just funny.
The science world is now saying that we might have multiple dimensions, multiple.
That's been being said for a while. That's not new.
What do they call
But
those?
yeah,
Parallel
multiverse.
universes and stuff.
Yes.
They talk about this in the Marvel and stuff too. They're really pushing this whole.
It's very helpful for narrative structures, okay, to have a multiverse, all right? Because then you can kill off characters that the audience doesn't want you to kill off, but you can bring them back because you can have a multiverse. That's why it's in narrative form a lot, because it's very convenient for characters to come and go and come back again.
Whole multiverse thing, but
because they don't want to
what they
say
are.
a universe of something that's unified with
Mm.
God involved in it. They're supposed to multiverse. It's this idea that there's multiple sections.
What?
There could be
It's like they're trying so purposefully to take the God out of the word, and that's why it's not universe, because it's multiple and not like, dude. Uni means one, multi means like multi.
you on another planet far away, and that you're different. You made one choice different. And have you heard this? There was a Jet Li
That's like
movie called The One.
Sliders.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
show
There's so
Sliders.
many movies that
Yeah.
involve this. Sliders.
Oh, that's
I haven't
right.
seen it.
I forgot all about Sliders, man.
Oh, it was
That's
a
right.
show in the early '90s. Sliders. They would slide through a portal or like a Stargate, and then they'd be like same time, same. Everything
it
looked the
is.
same, but something would be different. Like
Everybody brushes
the-
their hair with ice cream. Like, what's even happening here? Why is everybody brushing their hair with ice cream?
the street lights.
That's just
the
normal.
red
That's what
would
we
be
do
on
here.
top instead of the bottom or something. But there'd be different things. They'd run into themselves and stuff.
Yeah, or Jet Li had a movie called The One. Have you seen this one? And it was
I
where
watched
he
this
had to
one.
go defeat himself in another
Oh,
universe in
okay.
order to become the only
Oh,
one.
that's
And
awesome.
every time he defeated himself, he would get a little more power. And so they have this
Dude.
this
That is such like all those, like, I feel like it's a Korean thing maybe, but it's Asian movies. They always have it where they're like, there's some character seeking a ton of power, and they just keep on gaining power until they start, like eating planets or something at some point. That's like a lot of animes
idea
do like that.
they're pushing constantly in media, and it's affected what they theorize. Because if you watch the whole thing, a whole 40 minutes of this clip, the guy's like, well, we have theories, and he goes into theory, and it's all not based on Christian teachings. So
Yeah, man, because theories are based off of actual demonstrative data, like things that actually exist. You wouldn't put it on top of a bunch of unfalsifiable claims like that, man. It doesn't make they get so weird when they didn't do my religion and the science. Like, yeah, man, because like your religion is not part of that. Like, that's a bunch of weird claims that make no sense, are not even internally logical, like in any way, shape, or form. Like, it's not even valid. Like Star Wars, an argument could be made that it's valid, but their conclusions are not sound, because it's not the conclusions aren't true or likely true, but it's still got an internal, like the Bible doesn't even have that, and they want scientists to be like, okay, now let's view this new discovery through the lens of all these crazy, weird religious beliefs that are all inconsistent, and nobody believes the same thing. No two people believe the same thing about all of it. But like, yeah, we got to view this discovery through that lens. Give me a break, man. Of course not.
it's really fascinating.
It is interesting because I expected them to be like, we're communicating from visitors from other planets or something, but they're like, this is a turn I didn't expect, where they're saying this is actually interdimensional or multidimensional or something.
He said codimensional.
Yeah,
In
that's
there, I
like,
thought that's something you haven't
Codimension.
heard. Codimensional.
yeah.
Well, the Bible does talk about
They're
how,
in 2 or 3. You don't know how many dimensions they're in.
it doesn't talk. I don't know if it talks about other dimensions, but we have ideas in the Bible of things popping in
Yeah.
and
What the hell are you
disappearing.
talking about? Like, it makes, like, honestly, I'm surprised they haven't gone to this earlier. The Bible talks about like the spirit realm. That would be another dimension, right? It's just another dimension that like kind of lays on top of this one, right? According to their theology or whatever. So it's like it makes more sense in accordance with what they'd like to believe. That now, and see, now it makes sense, because I was like, why are they grasping so hard for this interdimensional thing? That's not what he said. He said it could be that. He just didn't want to say that he knew the origin. And so now they're like latching onto that because they can now say, yeah, the demon world, the demon realm, or whatever, the spiritual realm is another dimension on our planet or whatever. So like they could be that, and that's how they're crossing that bridge. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Unreal.
I don't know exactly where to
It's
go.
so
We see
funny.
hourglass
It's-
darkly right now, but it's interesting that they can appear and disappear, and we see angels appear and disappear. No.
Jesus and his new body was able to.
I love he just like came back. And they're like, yeah, because angels can disappear. He's like, Jesus, right? Yeah. So it's he disappeared. Walked through a wall one time.
Walk through walls, could just appear next to the disciples, disappear. So
It's
That's so
interesting.
funny.
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally
remember-
explaining.
I remember talking about with my friends. We would all talk about like the new heaven and new earth or whatever in the end times, and like it's this big emerald city or whatever that comes like on down on the ground. It gives all these weird metrics or whatever, like how big it is and everything. And I remember talking about how the none of the mansions that he made for any of us would need any doors, right? We might have windows so we can see out, but we don't need doors because we can walk through walls because we have bodies like Jesus. It's like you can't get dumber than a lot of this stuff that I used to say.
His description is literally describing angelic beings, the spirit world, but they're coming at it like it's this whole UFO thing.
New religion, basically.
I
Why did they
think
get to name it?
New religion?
They
How?
prepared.
It's so weird. They got like one dude claiming a thing, right? Which I haven't checked on any of this stuff, but it's highly possible that this dude's obvious, like super mistaken. Like maybe he thinks he has something, and that's even being generous. He could just be lying straight out. We don't know. I have no idea, right? But they're like latching onto this so that they can sit here and spin this whole thing. It's like, oh, they're saying that this is true. No, they're not, man. This is one guy saying a thing. It's just they're acting like it's just so all out in the open.
Aired this narrative for so long. They're choosing the name
Yeah.
and, like you say, the direction.
Like you were saying, like why it was not in the 60s. Now we had this terminology about metaverse.
No, the metaverse is just Facebook, man. You mean multiverse?
Verse and the superheroes. And now-
Multiverse.
Yeah, okay,
multiverse.
thank you.
And now
Correct.
that's what
He's like,
that's what he was saying.
metaverse is a universe within a universe. That's because it's meta, That's how
I mean, I think that guy watched a lot of superhero movies, something like that. But why interesting in that moment? Maybe because we live in the end times.
Yeah, it's because we're running into the last days, and we're gonna get into that in a second.
This guy's so funny. I love it. I feel like I feel like he doesn't really have a full thought. He's just so excited to be there. He's just like, so why is all this weird stuff? It's because we're in the end days, and they're all like, yeah, dude, of course, yeah, that's what we've been talking about here.
So I want to pull that out. What's
Love it.
fascinating is the religious part of it, though, because we're going to get into what they talk about. It's heavily religious based. In fact, they said we've seen UAPs, not only we're communicating with NHI, but we're also obtaining craft that has crashed or been left for us to take. To obtain technology from it. This is all in the news. This is
Now aliens are
How-
giving us technology.
Wait, how is any of that religious? Like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, it's totally in the Bible, man, right there, talking about spacecrafts being left by demons so that we can have them. That's Revelation 5:17. Like that's what
this is mainstream news right now. This isn't like off on alternative news websites. This is mainstream. What's happening?
Hold on. So wait, is the mainstream trustworthy or not? Because now they're doing this whole thing. They're like, hey, this is mainstream, so it has to be true. I thought your whole thing. I mean, it's crazy how inconsistent they are. Because there's like other videos where they're saying it's like not mainstream, and that's what makes it more true. But this one is mainstream, and that's what makes it more true. It's crazy, man. Like they just are so.
What we know is I've delved into a little bit of the lore, I guess you can say, behind it, and
yeah, a lot of source material for that particular lore. Okay, it's like Star Wars but crazier.
That lore says that this non-human entities, non-human intelligence, right, believes that there is coming a bad alien someday from the Orion sector.
Was this Men in Black?
Created the 10 Commandments.
It's on Orion's belt.
Now this is what Raelians.
It's from the motion picture Men in Black, the first one.
I believe
this isn't Raelians. Raelians another form. Scientology is another form, but this is from. I'm gonna think about it here and find it. But this is another form. We actually talk a lot about.
Y'all have got to get your microphones off the table. All right, you guys keep doing this like hitting the table thing. It's like get the other kind of microphones because it's like you can hear every movement.
On another podcast, but it's fascinating because
there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah,
what Jesus and God.
That dude, that totally had a brain lock. And she's like, that's so funny too. My mom always says that one. There's nothing new under the sun. She really likes that one. I think that's a proverb, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember where it comes. It's in the Bible. But yeah, it's just funny.
I'd have in place. Satan borrows.
Oh, he loves to counterfeit everything. And I think Satan is playing both sides of this thing. I think he will come as the cosmic savior and all that, but
he's paying both sides of the debate, man. That's how good, that's how real grifters do it,
But that's not enough because we know that Revelation says that the whole world is going to side with Satan to fight against Christ. So I believe when these beings finally...
The fuck does that even mean? What are you talking about? The whole world can't unite for our planet's coming to an end, and we can't even unite to be like, hey, maybe we should do something about it. Like a bunch of countries like, yeah, fuck your face. No way. We're gonna wreck the planet on purpose, and you can't do nothing about it. You know why? Because we're individual from you guys. We're different. Like you can't get us to get along with anything, and they're here sitting talking about like the world government and all this stuff. It's like, give me a break, man. There's like islands in the there's like island like tribes out there and everything that like will murder you if you even try to talk to them.
Finally come out on the news or whatever, they're going to say, we have come to help you because an evil alien invader is coming to your earth. And
so Critters, you're just doing the movie Critters when those little critters show up, right? And then the really cool like space suit alien dudes like come to be like, hey, really bad things landed here. Have you guys seen them? They're like little roly-poly monsters, little furry roly-polies with mouths.
And you will not defeat them unless you use our technology and have our help. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to be
literally
willfully siding with demons who are disguising themselves as aliens, willfully siding ourselves with Satan and his army to fight against Christ.
How do they say this stuff and like actually? Like this dude's dead serious. He's not joking around, man. Like he's like, so they're gonna come and tell us that we need their technology to save us from some other monster. But of course they're demons, and then the demons are just pretending to save us from a bigger demon. Or maybe that's Jesus. The demons they convince us to save the world from Jesus when he comes down with the sword tongue and all that shit.
And his angels.
Yeah, they call it the law of one. The law of one is this spiritualism idea that is against what we as Christians believe, and so it's really
everything is against what you as Christians believe, as long as it's not exactly your specific doctrine. And even sometimes it can be the same religion, but still be evil if they're a Catholic or something. Like everything is evil to you, man.
kind of dig into that a little further.
What do they say about the Ten Commandments?
They say that it's invented by a bad entity, a
Like a
bad
tyrant
alien,
or
a
something.
tyrant that came down and set us in place, and he wants us to only worship him, and it's a selfish means of
Sounds an awful lot like the Old Testament God, if you ask me, man. Like, sounds about right. Yeah. The Old Testament God was just like, can you do, like, he was basically all just about genocide and, you know, people worshiping him and just him, by the way, you know. And if you don't worship just him, then genocide again, you know, over and over. It's like,
of worship.
that
And
is
no
the Old
lying
Testament
and
God.
killing. Man, I wish I could do that. Evil tyrant.
Nope.
And
That's
the
his tyrant
superhero
voice. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like a tyrant. Like, he goes into like a Ben Shapiro tyrant. Yeah.
movie is the Eternals, and it's not just in that movie.
What? Did you say the turtles?
New movies coming up. The good and evil guy.
Mhm.
Have you guys heard that now they're united together to destroy the one is coming in the clouds?
So maximum carnage. Now we're talking about where Spider-Man and Venom have to team up to attack Carnage. That's what it is.
We must trust each other to protect the home we all share.
How
big can this guy be?
He
eats planets. So, like, way bigger than a planet.
Come on, man. Don't fucking.
That always
All right. I gotta skip it because
help
like they will
each
give me
other
a
to
copyright.
destroy-
say.
Sorry, they'll give me a copyright strike if I let these idiots just like play clips without altering them in any way, shape, or form, and I get a strike. Nothing seems to happen to them unless they're just not getting. I mean, unless they're getting copyright strikes and just don't care. But
The guy.
anyway,
Kind of what Reagan said, right?
Yeah, we put aside all our differences if we had an alien invader come to our Earth.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally
yeah, I mean, he was basically saying this when he was trying to like hurt a bunch of people legislatively, by basically just leaving a bunch of people out in the cold by gutting any type of social security type of or social programs that we had, and his whole argument is like, hey, you guys wouldn't even care about us taking all your rights and taking all of our, you know, all these safety nets away. If an alien was coming, you know, then we'd all get along, right? Yeah. So like this, he was doing divisive things that were like dividing people for good. Like people were mad at him for good reason. He's like, hey, look, hey, we could all get along if we just had aliens. It's like,
think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
We're all children of God and all this.
Yeah.
The ironic thing about
there's old movies with like alien, like movies from before that speech that was basically about like alien invasions and stuff. Like this is not, they're acting like it's so special, you know, but he's just you know, saying that we need to put our differences aside and just let the government get rid of all the social programs and the poor can go fuck themselves. That's basically what he's saying.
the comic stuff is these heroes are repackaged pagan, Roman, Greek gods. Like they openly say they're Greek and Roman and pagan gods, or they're blatantly like demons. Like Batman, he's the son of the demon. He's not a bat. I thought he was a bat, but he says no, he's based off of a demon. So you got these
What
good
are you
guys.
talking about? Where did he get? See, they get so deep in their own nonsense that like no, I have no idea which one he's even talking about. Oh, although I did watch, I didn't think it was their video. I think it was another one that was saying that the Joker was like symbolized Jesus. It was so weird. Maybe that's what he's talking about. That's so
To
funny.
our, you know, Ghost Rider who sold his soul to the devil and stuff. All these good guys have these really evil attributes, and that's who you're.
Yeah, it's like more. It's like a complex morality. It's funny. It reminds me too of like my back in the day. I was allowed to watch Rocky 2 and 3 taped off television, of course. But I was never allowed to watch Rocky or not Rocky. Rambo 2 and 3. But I couldn't watch Rambo 1 because he was fighting the cops in that one, and so the morality is just too murky. He doesn't want to confuse the kids.
siding with, and they're always like, we have to form together to fight to save Earth from this evil threat that's coming from the heavens, whether it's Thanos or whoever else.
It's always from the heavens. This is such a religious based system. And you know what? There's actually a religion on Earth.
Like, if you're not talking about the stuff that's already here on Earth, it would make sense narratively to have it come from the stars, man, because that's literally everywhere. This is just not on our tiny little planet here.
heavily involved with this right now. Check this out.
Checking.
Interesting.
Oh, you have a video presentation.
So let's start from the very beginning. You say it's a 90-year cover-up.
Just about, yeah.
90 years.
1933 was the first recovery in Europe, in Magenta, Italy. They recovered a partially intact vehicle.
It's long been known that the regime of dictator Benito Mussolini documented numerous UAP during this time. This internal memo from the Italian secret services includes crude drawings of the UAPs.
It's true.
They look like actual little flying saucers.
Italian government moved it to a secure air base in Italy for the rest of kind of the fascist regime until 1944, 1945. And, you know, the Pope Pius XII back-channeled that.
So the Vatican was involved.
Yeah. And
But why would all these different countries be hiding this stuff together? You're telling me that, like, there wouldn't be like some rogue country that would have information that's just like using it to mess with other countries, or just like, I don't know. It just seems like it's strange that every single country is like, yeah, we got to keep this secret.
Americans, what the Italians had, and we ended up scooping it.
So let me be very clear about this. You're saying that the Catholic Church, the Vatican, they know about the existence of non-human intelligence on this planet.
Certainly.
I'm not surprised.
Wow.
I got something to
no!
say.
See, this is what I'm saying. So now they're getting mad at their own religion, like the religion that their religion spun off of. It's a spin-off. I mean, really, of Catholicism. And now they're like, oh, that damn Catholic Church. They're the baddies right there. They're the actual baddies. Like, they look like they're super religious. Actually, they look weird, and we don't like it. We dress, with tight t-shirts and skinny jeans at our church, so we don't like the flowy golden stuff. It's not cool.
You shall not lie. Are they lying?
Still,
What?
first of all, you can tell the Freemason demonic activities behind this, right?
I feel like, you know what it is? I feel like this dude he's not, put his brain deep enough in a blender for the rest of these people. Because now here she's going off now about Freemasons, and he just looks confused. He's like, a fucking Freemason? What, like bricklayer? What are you talking about? I don't even, what?
What year was this found?
1933.
1933. That just hit me when we saw that.
Oh.
And then you remember the town.
Oh my good God. So now they're on to I think it's called clustering, is in logic, where you keep on finding, not logic, but like just in, critical thinking and whatnot, like where you keep on seeing the same numbers over and over again. It's just your brain. If you tell your brain to look for a particular pattern, that's called priming. And then it's confirmation bias as well. But like when you see a bunch of numbers, when you see a whole bunch of them kind of coming up over and over again, it's seemingly like a lot, that's called clustering. That's where your brain registers it as seeing it all the time, when really it's just a couple times, but it was close enough in proximity the other time you saw it that it makes you believe that you're seeing it all the time. Anyway, it's a whole thing. But yeah, and if you ask your brain to look for any number, it's like the movie the number 23. It can drive you insane because you can constantly be seeing those numbers. And then the other things that they'll do is they'll start being like, oh, well, that divided by this number, if you have this number and then take these two parts of it and add those together, then that equals 666. It just gets stupid. It's like, oh, they have to do all these things to manipulate the numbers to make them come up. But then they still are thinking that it's some like magical code that they're seeing. And it's like, no, dude, you're just, your brain's just finding patterns that you are looking for on purpose. Like,
it was found in Magenta, Italy.
Magenta?
They usually use names and numbers. So what does magenta mean?
See, here we go.
It's a combination of red and purple.
Oh, that's the sanctuary.
Or
the
that would be the good kind, but the bad kind is the
Revelation 13.
Right.
Whoa.
So you have that.
I don't even know what they're
And
off
then
on.
I'm just gonna.
They mention colors in Revelation 13. I'd have to look that up, but okay.
They throw this in there. It came out.
This is why throwing data at these people, like these people should not have access to this much data that they have, because they can just keep on confirming what they'd already like to believe by just looking through. Like, did you hear that line of reasoning there? Like, she went from like, oh, this is like these two colors, and then that's like, and that's connected to the inside, and this is all connected. Like, it's that crazy epiphania, just like gone crazy, you know.
That there were 12 craft, right? They have 12 craft. Why did they choose 12?
Interesting.
Right? 12 is a kingdom number. You have the 12
So now we're in
apostles, you have the
numerology.
12 tribes, you have these different things in the Bible. What kingdom is it they're trying to bring in right now? With this, they are moving into
the lawless
new agenda,
the new age, the law of one, that kind of thing. This is the
Dude, they get so lost that they're just like starting, because it's like, oh, all this stuff's connected, and she's like, and that means the stuff that we're saying. That means like
kingdom coming. That
doesn't actually mean
Man,
anything.
We are so close, dude. Like, this is insane. We're watching news.
Yeah, how
where
long
they're
have you guys
saying
been? How long have you guys been so close for so long? I mean, how long? I swear their channel, this channel, LED Live or just LED, whatever, Little Light Studios, has been going for like, I want to say like 10 years. And we have been like days away from the end the entire time. So it's amazing.
the Vatican has secrets about aliens. I mean, I've been seeing this stuff for a long time on other platforms, you know, like whatever, but not mainstream media news.
You know, other platforms like well, whatever.
It gets even crazier than this. And the next clip we're going to show, I'm not going to play it just yet, but the next clip we're going to show, it was just going to blow.
So, you know, if you want to do whatever with, you know, butt stuff or whatever, maybe you should go to adamandeve.com, put in code word BRENTLY, and get 3 free gifts, or get one item, almost any item, for 50% off, 3 free gifts, one for him, one for her, one for both of you, 6 free movies, and free shipping on the entire order. Just go to adamandeve.com and enter code BRENTLY, that's BRENTLY, at checkout to get that exclusive offer. All right. And I think we're going to basically wrap it here. I think I'm going to come back to this one and maybe do the rest of it tomorrow, because this is kind of fun. It's just a really long one. That's the problem when they do these live kind, because then they just go really long. But thank you so much for watching. If you want to go to patreon.com/unapologetics, it's spelled like unapologetic, except with an X at the end. You can become a patron there and you'll get extra stuff from the podcast. If you want to listen to the podcast, it's the Unapologetics podcast, and it's all over the place on all the different podcatchers, and it's similar to this show, but with Christian articles. And I have a lot of guests. So yeah, check that out. And but yeah, so thanks so much for watching, and we will see y'all next time. Just remember to stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. We'll see you next time.